Residents in Borno State have expressed deep concern over a shocking viral video showing underage children, suspected to be terrorist child soldiers, dressed in full camouflage in a deserted forest. The video shows about 18 children fully kitted in military uniforms, assembled in a straight line while jubilating in an isolated forest. While the exact location is yet to be confirmed, residents say the language spoken by the children suggests they may be from the Ngosh axis in Gwoza local government area of Borno South Senatorial District. In a Facebook post early Monday, the secretary of the coalition of Borno South APC Youth Group, Junaid Jibril Maiva, described the situation as a ticking time bomb. He wrote, "These appear to be child soldiers, possibly from the Ngosh axis, judging by the language they're speaking. If this is not a ticking time bomb, then I don't know what is." He called for immediate government action to stop the trend, warning of future repercussions. The government must act deliberately and decisively, or this war risks consuming all of us, he added. Recall that the militant group Boko Haram continues to recruit children and use them in battlefields across Nigeria, Cameroon, Niger, and Chad, officials and experts say. While it has suffered major military losses in the Lake Chad Basin, the extremist group seems to be adopting new strategies to revive its influence in the region, according to the experts. A military source has also revealed that one strategy of the militant group is to step up child recruitment. Meanwhile, in a shocking revelation, a Nigerian Islamic cleric Sheikh Gumi has alleged that the Nigerian government knows all the terrorists even by name.
The government knows every terrorist by name and by location. I don't go alone. I don't go to the terrorists alone. I call the police, I call the security, everybody. I will go to the MES, another place. In fact, when we went to one terrorist, I went even with women with me. Go to the bush. But when you didn't see it because the camera was not concentrated on it. I don't go alone.
Here, Io of Arise TV analyzes the situation.
Let me start from the end and I'll go back. There's a handover protocol between the Nigerian military and UNICEF whereby rescued children like this are not treated like criminals, but they are treated as victims of war, especially those who, whether through kidnapping by insurgents, are now made, compelled, forced, many times against their will, to fight in this manner. And so there's a handover protocol in place for that, to say and repeatedly say that these boys, look at their faces, are victims of war. Now, this is why we keep on calling for urgent attention to be paid to tackling insecurity, and why we keep asking questions as to the whereabouts or the release of these people who are kidnapped, especially when we see young children like that. Because if not, beyond the funding of terrorism, is that when we kidnap these people, we're going to recycle and have these young, innocent children being indoctrinated or pushed into a life of criminality against their will. No Nigerian child should be involved in combat. We are signed to the Child's Right of 2003. We have the Child's Rights of 2003. We are signed to the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of a Child. And so every child's right ought to be protected. If we don't get the insurgents, we will continue to see cases like this. This is why there's a continuous push for the soul of our future, because this is our future here. If we're not talking about children being out of school, if we're not talking about children being malnourished, last week you talk about our young people who are, there's a big substance misuse in our nation. We are selling the soul of our future. Yes. This is what we see before us. And that's why there's a continuous call for security agents to go after these criminals, these terrorists, so that not only do we safeguard our now in terms of the places and the people that they kill and kidnap, but that we also do well by the future, by safeguarding our children and ensuring that none of them will ever have to go into combat. Now, going on to Sheikh Gumi's story, around, they know the terrorists, it's difficult not to believe what he's saying, Oji, because we've often talked about this, that there must be some form of complicity. It's overt in some cases, like we saw whereby intelligence, or we've seen in cases where intelligence is received and someone within the ranks leaks it. We've seen cases where there's been a repeated call for investigations around the principal actors who called back soldiers based on the fact that terrorists are going to attack the Kebbi school in minutes. We have asked these questions, yet there's a glaring, obvious silence from the government. And so it's difficult to not know that, that there is some form of complicity, including them knowing. So the gap between them knowing and the arrest is, what is the difference? Why can they not go after these people? What is it? Where do they hold these government people by the jugular, whereby they are unable to act in a way to save the Nigerian people? These are the questions. And maybe Sheikh Gumi himself has a question to answer. He must know where they are saying, because for you to make assertions like this, so they should use him as a principal witness or a principal link to the terrorists and see how they can find a way. And no negotiations. Only it has been recommended in the past. It has failed in many instances where it has been employed. And so no negotiations. These are criminals. These are terrorists. And the Nigerian state must be serious about dealing with them and going after them to protect our now and, very importantly, to protect our future.
Peter Obi, a former presidential candidate of Labour Party, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, react in the following clips.
Our nation is clearly under siege, and the scale of insecurity is becoming unbearable, spreading widely all over the country, from Nasarawa, Kogi, and Benue. Residents are screaming that terrorists now flock to their farms and forests, disrupting economic activities, forcing entire villages to flee in fear. In Nasarawa's Kadako area alone, 14,318 civilians are now registered as internally displaced persons. In Oyo State, travelers were abducted in the dead of night along the Kishi-Igbeti road. Their whereabouts are still unknown. In Ondo State, criminals shot at, abducted, and wounded innocent citizens. And in Kebbi State, terrorists are on a rampage, killing officers and citizens, making it the third deadliest attack this month. The wave of terror has now brazenly crept into our nation's capital, the attack in Kabwa, Abuja. Just this week, about 19 citizens were abducted from their homes, including women and children. This is yet another grim reminder that insecurity is no longer distant, but now a norm. The primary responsibility of any government is to secure the lives and property of its citizens. Yet, the response from the government in power to all the incidents has been dead silence, as if Nigerian lives no longer matter. The ruling class are instead devastatingly more preoccupied with how to snatch, grab, and run away with the next election. It is time to restore security, dignity, and hope to every corner of this nation.
I'm so grateful to all of you, particularly the leadership of the armed forces. You've worked so hard to protect this country from marauders and keep our sovereignty. My sympathy goes to the Vice President and the entire country and many people of Borno for the incidents that occurred, and make a call to Zulum to share the pain with it. Freedom, yes, could be difficult and challenging at this period. We appreciate all the people who are facing the challenges of terrorism and banditry. We will win. Nigeria will prevail.